Chapter 3 Talks of War. When he was still alive, my mentor often said that he was like the flowing water of the Yushan Mountains that had mistakenly flowed into the Western Gorge, and his greatest wish was to know how his river of destiny would change if it had flowed eastward instead. It wasn't until the end of my journey north, from Icuria's Thunder Cove, passing through Centralis, Fortuna, and the city of Tang in Holoroth, where I finally arrived at the base of the plumed castle and Mathab, that I finally understood the words he spoke then. What he longed for was a free life, where he could travel far and wide in pursuit of knowledge. Initially, I thought that the last thing I could do for him was to bury his ashes atop the majestic Yushan Mountains. Yet I never imagined that I would have the opportunity to change the destinies of countless others, people like my mentor, so that they were free once again. The flow of the river of destiny was such a peculiar thing. I could never have imagined that I would one day come to work under Holoroth's prince. News of Holoroth Academy's reconstruction in Mathab led me to visit the scholar and craftsman overseeing the project, Master Karim. After a lengthy conversation, I was offered an unexpected introduction to Prince Hafe, who, in my opinion, seemed like a just and wise ruler at our first meeting. Little did I know that the prince and Master Karim were only interested in my expertise in crafting firearms, specifically because they were planning their second attack on the city of Tang. I had heard about the dispute over the rightful heir to Holoroth. It was during the first war between Mathab and the city of Tang that Omid, my mentor, was dragged into the conflict and became a slave. Over the more than 20 years that passed since then, the armies of Lunazra and Ikuria had engaged in several skirmishes within Holoroth. Looking back on those times, it was evident that Prince Hafez's body was not the only thing being fattened up in Holoroth, but also his ambition. My debate with Karim took place one rainy afternoon in a secret room under the abandoned Manticore Arena. The heat was stifling, and the atmosphere was tense. Prince Hafez sat atop a platform of raised sand, listening to my opinions from across a makeshift table of sandstone. I remember that a bead of sweat had trickled down my forehead, itching like a poisonous insect crawling on my face as it ran down. I wiped my face with my hands, and the rough calluses of my left hand and the coarse leather of my right glove woke me up slightly. Next to the table were the siege weaponry models that Master Karim had just showcased to the prince, like predatory beasts with bared fangs, ready to tear apart anything in their path. In Karim's description, the three-tiered war machine was as tall as the city of Tang's walls, equipped with 8 spring-loaded wheels for moving across rough terrain, and housed a giant ram powered by Dusol gunpowder. The second tier featured a foldable siege ladder, and the third tier was a walled compartment with arrow slits capable of housing at least 8 archers. Master Hadi, what do you think? Asked Hafe as he twirled his graying beard with his chubby fingers. The cost of these siege weapons is exorbitant, but they'll be rendered useless once they're damaged. If Ikuria's firearms division collaborates in the defense of the city, then I estimate that they will have at least 3 methods to counter our weapons, I replied, cautious in my choice of words as I hoped to dispel the prince's thoughts of war without angering him. Master Karim, could you prepare the necessary gunpowder? After receiving an affirmative answer, I requested a few tools from Karim and asked for some of the prince's time to demonstrate my conjectures. Once everything was prepared, I pushed the siege engine out while leading a cheerful Prince Hafe and a proud Master Karim onto the sandy grounds of the arena. After aligning the contraption, I pushed it out, but it had only moved creakily for a short distance before a deafening explosion suddenly broke out from the ground, sending the siege machine toppling backward and engulfing in flames. Master Karim's face twisted into a deep frown under the light of the flames. This is a landmine, a product created by Ikuria's firearm division 3 years ago. Once buried in the ground, the device is practically invisible. Yet, the moment that something heavy lands in its path, it will detonate instantly, obliterating everything above it, I explained to a shaken Prince Hafe. Master Karim, do you have any other strategies in reserve? Karim hurried back to his chamber and returned shortly with 2 models in hand, placing them before Prince Hafe. One was an unusually large cannon, while the other was a stone-throwing machine, built using the leverage principle to launch boulders great distances. What if, Karim proposed, we could shatter the city walls from a distance? With gunpowder refined from Dusol, we could turn the city of Tang into a blazing inferno in just one afternoon. He picked up a branch and drew in the sand, all the while presenting data to prove the feasibility of his siege engines to Prince Hafe. Prince Hafe turned his gaze to me, seeking my opinion. While striking from a distance is an option, it cannot guarantee the safety of the machines nor the lives of the men who operate them. I shook my head before retrieving a small device from my pouch. This was crafted by a young girl from the Valteca several years ago. We sailed together on the seas once. This device helped us communicate with each other between 2 distant ships. A warm feeling welled up in me as fond memories of the girl with her radiant smile surfaced. She called this device the wooden owl. I adjusted its wings and tail and wound it up before presenting it to the prince. Following my instructions, Prince Hafe activated the wooden owl, which shot off like an arrow, striking Karim's model cannon with pinpoint accuracy. Now, how would Master Karim deal with the wooden owl if it were filled with gunpowder? Yes, what would you do, Master Karim? The prince asked, intrigued. Karim's face paled, and his eyes darted back and forth. Finally, he appeared to have come to a resolution and beckoned me over so that we could discuss the topic further. But when I approached him, a dagger was drawn and pressed against my throat. Hadi, my friend, do you know what's most vital in warfare? Karim asked before offering a grim response. It's people. I may not understand why you aligned yourself with the city of Tang for so long, he continued. But I know that eliminating you here, he paused and shot a glance at the prince before concluding, would bring no harm to us. In fact, it could do us a load of good. I sighed heavily. Hadi, there's no need for... Before Karim could finish his sentence, he was thrown violently against the arena wall. Prince Hafe pointed at my now missing right forearm, mouth agape in disbelief. With a shrug, my right arm, which had been launched out, returned back to its place. After clicking my prosthetic arm back into place, I waved my hand at Prince Hafe, reassuring him there was no cause for panic. That's exactly right. The essence of war lies in people. I grabbed my scimitar and pointed it at the somewhat bewildered Karim. The wealth of resources that Ikuria holds far surpasses your imagination. The reason my mechanical arm functions flawlessly. I extended my right hand towards Karim, who was still on the ground. The fingers of my mechanical hand clasped around the back of his hand, yanking him back to his feet, is due to the limited knowledge I gained of their engineering, coupled with training from their martial artists, who taught me how to manipulate machinery with my inner energy. But there's another critical aspect to warfare, Karim shouted, still trying to argue his point with Prince Hafe. Indeed, I interjected. And that is wealth. The newly founded city of Tang has thrived for a century, backed by the abundant iron mines of Ikuria's northwestern province of Fortuna. In contrast, we rely solely on Lunasra's Chamber of Commerce for support. If those merchants fail to amass enough profits, then even if Prince Hafe ascends the throne of the plumed castle, his reign may very well be short-lived. My words silenced Prince Hafe for a moment before he once again voiced with some reluctance, "So what then, according to Master Hadi's counsel, should I rely on to secure the throne?" "First and foremost, it is imperative that you abolish the trade of slaves, establish an academy, and reduce taxes. As long as the commoners of Holleroth are willing to rally to your flag, the throne will naturally come to you." I removed the deerskin glove from my right hand, as there was no longer any need to conceal my prosthetic. As if on cue, a beam of sunlight pierced through the clouds, casting its radiance onto my open palm. End of chapter 3.